Positioning. Unique selling proposition. Your brand image is primarily an emotional construct. Emotion is probably always more powerful in swaying people than reason, but people like to be able to rationalize their choices. This is where, in addition to the reason why approach, awareness of another advertising theory, the US can be helpful to you. The US, or unique selling proposition, formula was developed by Rosser Reeves, an ex-copywriter who became head of the Ted Bates Agency in New York. He wrote an excellent book, largely dealing with this theory, but also covering other aspects of advertising, called Reality in Advertising. To establish your US, you compare your product or service with your competitors. Then you determine one feature you have which no one else can offer. This is your unique selling proposition. It is this which you must promote single-mindedly. How a credit card can be a unique selling proposition when the same facility is offered by any number of retailers is difficult to comprehend. It reminds one of people who refer to things as being rather unique or fairly unique. Here are some typical USPs. Cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. Colgate toothpaste. The Too Good to Hurry Mint. Murray Mints. There's more for your life at Sears. Sears Roebuck. It ain't fancy but it's good. Horn ampersand hard arts. The mint with the hole. Polo Mints. It takes a tough man to make a tender chicken. Purdue Chicken. And, finally, another gentleman in the chicken business, it's finger-licking good. Colonel Sanders. One problem with the US is that you sometimes have to rely upon some pretty trivial points of difference to arrive at your positioning. Today's theory. Positioning is exactly what your common sense tells you it is. Your position should reflect where you fit in the market, what differentiates you from your competitors, not merely in fact, but in the minds of your potential buyers. What they think about you is as important, possibly more important, than the truth about you. The positioning statement. Positioning should be expressed through a short, simple statement. It should not be confused with a slogan, though if the positioning and the slogan can be the same, wonderful. The purpose of the positioning statement is to be borne in mind and conform to in everything you say and do, and it should not be forgotten that as in everything else in life, it may be a position you aspire to, as opposed to the one you actually have. When you conduct research, you may discover that your customers do not see you the way you would like them to. That might be described as position A. Then, based upon what you have business, the future of the market, and your own plans, there will be a second position, B, which is where you would like to arrive. The way you handle your customers from that point on will affect your position in their minds, as will where you advertise, up-market media or down-market media. So will the type of language you use when communicating with them, or the type of layout. Everything contributes in its own way to your positioning, and to how effectively you move it from point A to point B. Be similar, but not identical, might be a good maxim when looking at positioning. Look at the strong points of your competitors, and see if you can come up with some unique twist which will mean you have everything they have, and a little bit more. Research your Once you have decided on past service, it's sensible to research them, and see which of them your target market finds credible and appealing. For instance, one of my clients used to sell a wide range of kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms, doors, windows and the like to the public through retail outlets. We wanted to find out what the right positioning for them could be, and then reflect it in their advertising. Accordingly, a number of lacking a different position. Isa, the best day store in town. Consumers appreciated that the stores were not day outlets, so this was seen as inaccurate. Ideal home improvement store. Consumers thought this dealt only in superlatives, which were glib and self-congratulatory. Store for top quality home improvements at value for money prices. Consumers thought this was not distinctive. It was overused phraseology, nor did it appear credible. People expect to pay a premium price for quality. The home improvement store where service really is personal service. The idea of service was good news, but not enough. Products had to be good, too. In any case, this claim was seen as something other stores like Marks & Spencer could make better. To find out what the trade has always known, people had mixed feelings about the trade. Some thought of it in association with craftsmanship, others thought of cheap workmanship and cowboy operators. Or traditionally used by the trade, here the same negatives aroused by the previous trade line came up, though in a better sense because of the use of the word traditionally. Made to last by us. Sold direct to you, this conveyed that the company was personally involved in the making of the products, as opposed to being an importer. Moreover, the line was seen as patriotic, because it clearly meant these were British goods. It also conveyed craftsmanship, durability, and the good value you get by buying direct. Readers also appreciated that the line was to the point, not gimmicky. This line came out on top. Advertising and positioning. If you look at the kind of brief most general advertising agencies use to initiate creative work, it often has under the heading Objectives, two subheads. First, what the advertising is intended to make the prospect know. Second, what the advertising is intended to make the prospect feel. The thing it does not very often contain is a third heading saying what we want the prospect to do. Thus, much general advertising is an exercise in positioning. The difference between what we, as direct marketers, do, and what the conventional advertiser does, is that we want to inform people, we want to make them feel, but above all we want them to take some action. 11 Steps to Success of Marketing Thinking. Business Mission. What are you trying to achieve? Business Objectives. What are the specific results you want to achieve? Marketing Objectives. Marketing Strategy. In the markets where you wish to gain a foothold, you might have objectives such as setting up an effective sales and distribution network so as to be able to recruit new customers and service them properly. Your marketing strategy will depend upon your original business mission. If you wish to be preeminent, have you decided that this position will be achieved through low prices? Or should you maintain a high margin, but add value, and thus be perceived as a company that concentrates on quality, not price? Communication objectives. They might be to tell your customers and prospects that you care more about them, which is why you give them added value. Communication strategy may well be to build a database of customers and prospects, which you can use to initiate a long-term relationship. This relationship will center upon communicating the added value message we've just mentioned to selected individuals. Advertising objectives. What precisely do you want your advertising to achieve? What do you want your customers and prospects to know about you, to feel about you? And what do you want them to do? Because you've followed such a logical sequence, it's all fairly simple by now, isn't it? You want them to know you're a company that doesn't offer bargains, it offers added value for your money. This demonstrates in a practical way what you want people to feel, that the company cares about them. And of course, what you want them to do is to initiate a relationship with you if they are prospects, and to cement further the relationship they have with you already if they are customers. Advertising strategy would be to convey those messages through appropriate channels. You might choose television and public relations to project the image you are aiming for. Sales promotion and special offers in advertising could add names to your database. Then you might use direct mail and telephone to build a stronger relationship with each individual and, of course, make sales. Creative strategy. How ought you to say the things you wish to say? What tone of voice are you going to adopt? What advertisements, mailings, media strategy will be considered? If you're going to go on television, which channels? If you're going to use PR, which publications do you want to get coverage in? The specialist press. The national press. The same thing will apply to how you might wish to build your database. Where are you going to make your offers so as to reach the right individuals? Contact strategy. At what points in the relationship between you and your prospect and customer are you going to communicate? When and how will you use the media you have selected to reach each prospect or customer? Here, once again, the emphasis you, as a direct marketer, place upon individuals as opposed to masses is critical. Take two people you wish to sell to. From studying the database, you may discover that one is much more likely to respond to a certain offer than another. Or perhaps that one is more likely to influence an ultimate purchase than another. That means you can afford to spend more money to contact and communicate with that particular individual. This, in turn, will influence your contact strategy. Once you have determined your objective, to make your plan work you must look at things from the point of view of the people you are addressing. You should be viewing your own company and your own objectives from their perspective. It is from their perspective that any communication must be planned. If what you do does not make sense to them, to those vital individuals, you are heading for trouble. If you look at it with them in mind, here are 5 simple questions you should be able to answer. Who are you talking to? To do. Why should they do what you want? Where do you find them? When should you speak to them? How to understand your customers better. Here are 3 other intelligent things to do, particularly if you fear you may be moving in an increasingly rarefied atmosphere. Talk to your sales or telephone people, sit in on their sales pitches, listen to their conversations with customers. Go shopping in a street market at least once a month. While you are at it, go and sit in a crowded pub and listen to ordinary people. 3. Invest regularly in group discussions amongst your customers, or street interviews. Get your creative people involved in these. By doing all these things you will undoubtedly find it much easier to understand all those people out there, what it is they want out of life, and how to talk to them in language they understand and appreciate. You will also be vastly entertained. One of the things you will certainly learn is that people very rarely devote as much time to speculating about the wonders of your advertisements and mailings as you do. Indeed, they are almost entirely indifferent to them. For this reason, they do not spend much time trying to puzzle out what you're trying to say. So if you don't make it extremely clear what it is you're selling right from the start, you are on a hiding to nothing. Who knows when or when? Your choice of media, and your timing. Where and when will you meet your prospect? A better way of looking at it is that if you give your buyers more opportunities, or excuses, or reasons to buy, then they will. Study of them and their characteristics will help you produce appropriate rationales. Here are a few examples. It is now a year since you first became a customer of ours. I am writing to thank you. We really appreciate your business, and I'd like to make you the following offer. I see it is your birthday next week. I have, therefore, taken the opportunity to review your investments with us. As a result, I have some recommendations I hope will prove appropriate, based on what you have told us about your circumstances. The budget is coming up, and the Chancellor will probably radically alter the system for tax relief. This is a good opportunity for you to although you are one of our best customers, with your wife. Accordingly, may I suggest, the more you communicate, with good reasons to communicate, the better you're likely to do. Moral, you may easily be able when planning media to find out where to reach your customers, but don't underestimate the number of occasions when you should hit them. Where your money will do most good. Clearly, your customers are only affected, or not, by the communications you finally make. The customer is not interested in, or even aware of all the effort and planning which lead to those communications. Yet if this process is not carefully conducted, then those communications will not do the job they should. That being the case, where should you direct your attention, your time, and your money to gain the greatest benefit? The answer to that is almost invariably not where most companies do lavish most of their time and energy, which is in 2 areas: how much it's all going to cost, and fiddling about with the minor details of the communication.